say Somalia has the largest herd of camels anywhere else in the world. And in terms of goods, it's probably the first or the second if we consider Ethiopia. So it has the largest animal herd in the world. Sometimes a bit.
The recent inclusion of a new member into the East African Community, EAC, has stirred both support and skepticism. This development marks a significant expansion for the regional bloc, but concerns have been raised regarding the readiness and potential challenges posed by the new entrant.
3 countries that are sitting here even gave us their children to die for us. This is not something that we take. We can never give it back to the children they lost, but we can be good neighbors. It's a matter of formalizing a relationship we have.
There is quartz, we hear there is gypsum, there is uranium, there is iron ore, a lot of gold, potential gas, potential oil. All these things are waiting for East Africans to come and, because they have not been exploited by Somalis because they didn't have a good government. So if Africans wanted to become rich, they will join, they will let Somalia in.
We signed oil exploration agreements that the world thinks that there is more oil than a lot of oil in Somalia. We have 8 million hectares of arable land. So not only we can feed ourselves, but we can feed Uganda or Burundi or Kenya. A deep water port for $320 million, completely owned by Somalis, have been completed in the state of Puntland and will be operational very soon for the intention of supporting EAC.
The decision to admit Somalia as a new member has been met with divergent views. Advocates emphasize the strategic advantages, particularly the substantial coastline that provides direct access to crucial trade routes. Proponents argue that the integration could bring about opportunities for investment, trade, and infrastructure development, citing the historical ties of the new member's diaspora in neighboring countries. However, critics express reservations, suggesting that the new member, Somalia, should have addressed internal challenges before seeking regional membership. Comparisons to global examples, such as the European Union's cautious approach to certain candidates, raise questions about the EAC's decision-making process and its potential compromises. The historical context of previous admissions to the EAC is examined, with scrutiny on countries whose democratic credentials were initially questioned. East African nations must prioritize the strengthening of their democratic institutions, the development of internal infrastructure, and the guarantee of citizens' rights to elect their leaders freely. Rwanda, Congo, Burundi, Uganda, and South Sudan share a common characteristic of governance structures, dominated by a single individual or family. Before delving into broader regional discussions, the emphasis lies on cleaning up internal governance, fostering democratic principles, and building the necessary foundations for accountable and inclusive leadership. By addressing these crucial aspects, East African countries can lay the groundwork for sustainable progress and collaboration within the region. The recent acceptances of nations facing internal conflicts are analyzed, highlighting ongoing challenges within these member states. A warm welcome to Rise Africa, your channel dedicated to empowerment, enlightenment, and the celebration of African excellence. We're not just a channel, we're a community, and we invite you to be part of it.
Application that the president put it there is one of the top priorities for the president of Somalia and for the Somali government. We believe that Somalia is standing on its feet, not because we just woke up one day and decided to do everything. 80%, maybe, I shouldn't say 80%, maybe 75% of the country has been always peaceful. Somaliland is peaceful. Puntland is peaceful. There is pockets of peaceful cities and peaceful parts of Somalia for the past 20 years. But what they do, these insurgents, is to show the world they are alive. So they have to come to a market and kill as many people as they as they want to. And no one can stop that, as we have seen in other parts of the world. And we will never forget for those of your children who gave their lives to us. A port for $320 million, completely owned by Somalis, have been completed in the state of Puntland and will be operational very soon for the intention of supporting 30 million people in Ethiopia, which is also landlocked. We have always traded, and you could see that in your countries and adding value to the community. There was a 2013 study of KPMG and said that the Somali community add to the economy of Nairobi $2 billion a year. That's 10 years ago. So there is a value added if Somalia joins the community.
The decision to admit Somalia as a new member has been met with divergent views. Advocates emphasize the strategic advantages, particularly the substantial coastline that provides direct access to crucial trade routes. Proponents argue that the integration could bring about opportunities for investment, trade, and infrastructure development, citing the historical ties of the new members' diaspora in neighboring countries.
And our president recognized in the world as a government recognized in Somalia was done in 2012. And the first person to occupy that seat was the current president, Hassan Sheikh. So you can understand his history goes far and cares about the country that much. Say Somalia has the largest herd of camels anywhere else in the world. And in terms of goods, it's probably the first or the second if we consider Ethiopia. So it has the largest animal herd in the world. Sometimes a bit. So livelihoods include irrigation and farming and pastoralism and trade and all kinds of things.
A significant worry centers on the security situation of the new member, Somalia. With the withdrawal of a peacekeeping mission and the presence of non-state threats, concerns arise about the region's ability to effectively handle security challenges. The continued presence of military forces from other East African Community, EAC member states in Somalia, adds complexity to the overall security dynamics. Critics argue that admitting a country with a history of instability may strain the EAC, which is already grappling with its own challenges in maintaining peace, security, and stability in the region. Beyond security, concerns extend to governance issues, the lack of democratic practices within EAC nations, corruption allegations, and the difficulty of holding national elections. These factors prompt questions about whether Somalia, as the new member, fully comprehends the responsibilities and standards of the EAC, emphasizing the need for Somalia to address its internal issues before fully integrating into the regional community.
Military junta. Have you ever heard of Siad Barre? He took over the country in 1969, and as you would understand, during the time and what used to happen, ran like a military state for a very long time. As you also the geopolitics of the time, 1960s and 70s, countries were either aligned east or west. That military man was aligned east. So you would understand the complex. This country was mostly aligned west. If you north was under British protectorate, which means they were on the west. And then the south here were Italians, which was on the east, if you read history. And therefore the country was, internal politics was kind of mismanaged by the military, if I can say so. And he ruled until 1991, when he was ousted in an uprising. I'm sure you've heard. This was a organic uprising from different parts. First time there was a formal constitution, a transitional constitution, a constitution that everybody agreed, a power sharing formula was done, and a president recognized in the world as a government recognized in Somalia was done in 2012. And the first person to occupy that seat was the current president, Hassan Sheikh. So you can understand his history goes far and cares about the country that much.
Somalia's integration into the East African Community is a complex tapestry of hope, challenges, and regional dynamics. The region stands at a crossroads, balancing the promise of economic opportunities and strategic advantages against concerns related to security, governance, and Somalia's internal readiness. As East African nations navigate this juncture, it becomes imperative to prioritize internal reforms, bolster democratic institutions, and ensure a steadfast commitment to citizens' rights. The acceptance of Somalia into the East African community demands a united effort from all member states, emphasizing parliamentary approval, economic recovery, and internal strength as crucial benchmarks. The unfolding story of Somalia joining the East African community serves as a reminder that the path to regional collaboration requires a delicate balance between optimism and prudence, with the shared vision of a stronger, more interconnected East Africa guiding the way. Join us on the Rise Africa channel to stay connected and be part of the journey. Subscribe, like, and share to support the Rise of Africa channel.